All right, so we're going to move on with solving inequalities, and we're going to move right into some more advanced ones because solving two-step equations is really easy. I know that you guys totally went through yesterday's stuff and were just perfect. So we're going to actually move into the more challenging ones today. And remember, there was only one thing that was different. What was it? You're right. We had to flip if we were multiplying or dividing by a negative. Okay, if we're multiplying or dividing by negative. So if you've not gotten your Desmos calculator open, make sure and do that so we have that available. And let's go ahead and get started by starting to solve this problem. Okay, so let's take a look at what we got. So notice how I have variables on both sides. And I'm going to need to do some distribution. So I've got to distribute here. So I have 28 minus 7x less than or equal to, that's 28x plus 28. Okay, so we're going to move x's this way, numbers this way. So let's go ahead and move the 28x. So minus 28x. So negative 7, let me clear that. Negative 7 minus 28, that's going to give us a negative 35. So I have 28 minus 35x less than or equal to 28. Okay, now I'm going to subtract my 28. I have negative 35x less than or equal to 0. Okay, so I'm dividing by a negative 35. That's negative. So what has to happen? You're right, that needs to flip. So x, flip it. And this is going to be 0. So we flipped that sign because that was 0. So here's 0. It's an open circle to the right. And remember, my solutions would be everything bigger than 0. Okay, see what you can do with the next problem. See what you can do with number 7. So hit pause. Start solving that problem. Don't forget you're going to flip if there is a negative. All right, let's see how you did. So I see that I'm going to have to distribute. So I start with 6 minus 24n. And then negative 4 times 7 is a negative 28. Oops, yep. Greater than or equal to 122. Now remember, we are only supposed to have no more than 2 things on a side. So these two are like terms. Let's go ahead and combine those. So negative 24n minus 22, because that's adding, greater than or equal to 122. So I'm going to add 22. So negative 24n greater than or equal to 144. So now let's divide. And we're dividing by the negative. So 144 divided by negative 24 gives me a negative 6. I have n and a negative 6, and this guy has to flip. Okay, so here's negative 6. I have a closed circle, and I'm going to the left. So my solutions are in here. Okay, so hopefully that kind of gets your head wrapped around more solving. Remember, the only time we flip is if those are negative. So if this would have been, I get a color other than yellow, 24n is greater than 144. This one would have been a no flip, okay, because that's positive. So that last step determines whether or not we are going to be flipping that sign. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph these two problems, and then I want you to write down 3 possible solutions that are solutions to this one and 3 that are not. So go ahead and hit pause. Let's start with this problem. Hit pause, graph that problem, give me 3 possible solutions to negative 6, x is less than or equal to negative 6, and 3 possible non-solutions or numbers that don't work. All right, so let's see how you did. So we've got a closed circle and we're going to the left, okay? And I know that my solutions would be here. So 3 possible solutions. I could use negative 12, negative 10, negative 8, -7, and I can also use -6 because this is closed. I could also use like -20, -100, because it's going to keep going. Now, numbers that don't work, that's going to be everything on this side. Okay, so I could have picked -4, -2, -1, 0, 1, 500. Anything that is bigger than -6 is not going to work. Okay, so let's take a look at x is greater than 8. So if I have greater than 8, here are my solutions. So take a minute and tell me 3 solutions and 3 non-solutions. Okay, so 3 possible solutions. I could use 10, 11, 12, 500, etc. Okay, anything bigger than 8. Numbers that don't work: -12, -4, 0, 2, and 8. This does not work. Okay, it is not a solution because that is an open circle. So make sure you understand the difference between having an open circle and a closed circle and being able to identify when I actually have a solution. Okay, you should be good to go to work on your homework for today. Show your work on your things. Make sure that you are keeping track of those homework assignments because you're going to turn those in. Make sure you're coming with questions because you've got a quiz coming up.